Is the Sahel States alliance enough? We're asking ourselves these questions.
Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another video. Today we are talking about Niger or Niger, depending on what language you speak. So Niger has banned Red Cross. Yeah, the Red Cross, the international humanitarian organization, has been banned in Niger with no explanation. But apparently because it's an NGO, they're not obligated to give any explanation when they cut in ties with an organization. So they just decided they don't want NGO. I think this is one of those things where they don't want to be confusing them with the imperialists. I don't know.
Well, Niger's ruling militaries ordered the International Committee of the Red Cross to leave the country immediately. The junta hasn't given any reason for this decision, but earlier this year it did say that the government was looking more closely at its supervision of foreign NGOs. It's also been forging new diplomatic ties and left regional group ECOWAS in January. The shifts come amidst an ongoing security crisis, which saw several Nigerian troops killed in an extremist attack on Monday.
This week's announcement by Niger Foreign Affairs Minister to actively ban the International Committee of the Red Cross came unexpectedly, apparently without any prior warning. ICRC Niger has not even had a chance to update its website with the latest developments. So if you are African, you will know that there's a lot going on in Niger right now. As contrary to what you might see on the social media, there is, yes, the Sahel bloc is being formed, and who knows what is that gonna help. But right now, people in Niger, they need humanitarian services, and the government of Niger is overwhelmed from what we're getting anyway. We say that because there is still terrorist attacks in Niger and Burkina Faso, and I think in Mali as well. So that's where the Red Cross steps in, because they are able to mobilize and use volunteers, like local volunteers, to get to places as quickly as possible. Sometimes before the government get there. I was a volunteer for the Red Cross in Botswana, and I know that they are really good when it comes to responding to crisis or humanitarian crisis when it comes to flood. And in the case of Niger, I would assume they are helping whenever there was like an attack.
At least 5 policemen and 5 National Guards were killed in an Islamic State ambush near Bankirare in the Tillaberi region. This region is the most targeted by several jihadist groups, and 2024 was a particularly deadly year for Nigerian civilians and the army.
So you would think that is like an innocent thing to do, and it's something that you can be grateful for whenever these people are in your country doing all this work. But in Niger, it's not allowed. The premises of the ICRC in the capital Niamey had reportedly been closed down since Tuesday's announcement, according to the Nigerian government source, and the majority of foreign staff has immediately departed from the West African nation, as reported by the AFP news agency. There was no official reasoning given for the military junta's decision to shut down the ICRC operations in the country. So to shut the Red Cross operation in the country so suddenly. However, the news came on the same day that the global recognized NGO published its latest reports on humanitarian activities in Niger. That's why they are getting banned, because they put out a report of, obviously, because they are an organization, they have the obligation to because they non-governmental organization, they depend on donations and all that. So they give this report so they can get more donors to contribute. They have to update the people on like this is the situation on the ground, and if you can give, that would be much appreciated. But because this is a dictatorship country, they don't want even a good information or a bad information to come out. This is why you don't see much of the news coming out of Niger in like maybe bigger news outlet unless they have like a source that is in there. And journalists have been disappearing in these countries, so I would assume that journalists are also frightened for their lives to give a report. And if they give a report, it has to be anonymous, it has to be secretive, and it has to be to somebody they trust. Um, I'm not sure if the general population in these countries, talking about the Sahel countries, are aware of what is going on, or they are just hoping that whatever they are seeing is not actually happening.
Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, which share several borders, are facing the biggest jihadist offensive of their history. Still, they recently left ECOWAS, the regional bloc linking them to other West African countries.
So actually put out the report here. It was in French, so Google have to translate. With the support of national and local authorities, the ICRC is actively involved in the region of Difa, Toa, and Tilabire, where communities are affected by consequences of armed conflict. So that's what the Red Cross was doing in Niger, and this is the report that they gave out in partnership with Niger Red Cross. The International Red Cross is deploying assistance and protection programs to meet the most urgent needs. So they are, yeah. I don't think I have to explain that. If you are somebody who is like an adult in this day and age, you should know that there's an organization called the Red Cross. You can see them all over the world, especially wherever there's a crisis, including in the countries of America or in Europe. Whenever there's a crisis, the Red Cross is like really fast to offer assistance. And I think, like I said earlier, it's an international organization that has sub-organizations in different countries, and in some countries we find they have many other offices that with that mobility they can network assistance as quickly as possible before maybe the government takes action, because sometimes governmental things you have to go sign and all that. So I really don't understand why that was an issue. And that was the report. That was the only report that I see that they have reported on the 4th of February 2025. Yeah. So that's just that simple report. They didn't even say, they didn't even call out the government for not doing enough. They didn't say anything that I think is offensive towards the government. All they did was report on what they are doing at the moment, and that's it. They cut off.
Before, ECOWAS was able to share information with Niger about terrorist groups or rebel activities on their soil. But now that Niger left ECOWAS, there's no more information being shared. The situation is worse than we think. This is obvious. But now, what are we supposed to do? Does the military solution alone end terrorism? Is the Sahel States alliance enough? We're asking ourselves these questions. If it's enough for now, will it be in the long term? That's another question, and since we don't do the research, we can't find out.
But while a segment of the population continues to support Niger's authorities no matter what, the security situation continues to get worse. According to the Armed Conflict Specialized NGO ACLED, at least 1,500 people, civilians and military, were killed in 2024's terrorist attacks.
This is not a blow to the Red Cross. Like the Red Cross is not just like people at the office sitting there be like, oh, Niger, our partners, what happened? This is a blow to the people that depend on this assistance, on this needs, and people that need as little assistance as they can possibly can, because the Red Cross doesn't do like a whole, like they can bring a tent and some food, like things that you need immediately. And if you don't have that kind of response, then it's just, yeah, then it's just, you might find yourself in difficult situations. And I don't know, without the Red Cross, I don't know what other organization that these countries can accept, what other organization that can work in Burkina Faso. And yeah, it's actually sad. It's actually sad that this is the realities that we still find in Africa. And there's so many other African content creators who do what I do like this, and they just wanna make everything as if it's just beautiful propaganda kind of a thing, and it just feels like we are wasting our time. Anyway, that's all. Thank you so much for watching this. And if you're like African, please continue calling out these governments. At least if they cannot change what they want to do in power, at least they should prioritize the people that need help in their respective countries. See you guys on the other side.